Hi, welcome back. This section is all about deploying applications with Config Manager Hybrid. In this section, you learn about deploying applications with Config Manager Hybrid. I will give you a short introduction what Config Manager Hybrid is capable of doing regards to deploying applications to mobile devices. We will have a look at iOS apps, Android apps, and Windows apps. We will, for all three platforms, look at just deploying normal apps, but also by using the business stores. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to configure support for iOS apps, how to configure support for volume purchase program of Apple, and how to deploy the different kind of apps that exist. But first, let's give you a short introduction. Of course, the app model is used in Config Manager to deploy our apps to our mobile devices. So we are able to deploy and manage apps directly from the public app stores, which is great because a user doesn't need to go to the iTunes store requesting an app, or you don't need to acquire the native files so that you are able to deploy it to your users. We can also deploy and manage apps from the business stores. For instance, the volume purchase program of Apple, Android for Work, or the Windows Store for Business. Applications can be deployed as available or required to a collection of users. Available applications will be visible in the company portal. Required applications will be pushed directly to the users, and the users are required to install them. For iOS, we can use something like the app configuration policies. We can pre-configure iOS apps with certain settings you would like. Not all iOS apps support app config policies, but see for a complete list on the following URL: raf.ms/memlist. Mobile application management policies are used to control data. More on this in a later module. But first, have a look at applications on iOS. We will have a look at the App Store's native apps and Apple VPP. Like said earlier, for iOS we are able to deploy applications directly from the iTunes Store. When deploying an application as required, the application will be pushed to the device of the user, and the user gets a notification that it needs to install the application. If a user doesn't do it, it will try after a certain period. Deploying apps from the Apple Volume Purchase Program are also supported. The Apple Volume Purchase Program allows you to purchase applications from the iTunes stores. For instance, if you would like to have an application available which the user normally needs to pay for, you can pay it as a company and deploy it for a number of times according to your licenses. Of course, we also support line of business apps. And this line of business app can be an app deployed by yourself, by your company, or a company for you. Let's have a look and dive into our demo environment. So back in our lab environment, in the software library workspace, we see the application management node. Under that, we see the applications node. To create an application which is supported by iOS, we need to create the application. Here we have a couple of options. We can add an app package for iOS, PAF file, or we can create an app package for iOS from the App Store. Let's first try this one. In the applications node, we need to create a new application. Here we have a couple of options. We can either create the app package for iOS, which is basically a native API file, or we can create an application based for iOS from the App Store. Let's choose this one. If you know the URL already, you can add it, or you can click Browse to browse the iTunes Store. This is not really a nice way of doing this. I prefer just using the iTunes So if we for instance look here for the app called Uber, we can click on the icon and select to copy the link. We can paste the link in the location field. It's a free app, so we can click next. Again next. We give the app a name and click next. The next step will be deploying the application when it's finished creating. So we click close, select the application again and click deploy. We select the cloud collection. We don't need to specify the content destination because the application is hosted in the iTunes Store in the cloud. We click next. We will be making this app available for the users. Also, if you want to remove an application from a user's device, you could choose the uninstall option. We leave the rest as default and click close. So after 5-10 minutes, application will be available in the company portal, the iOS device. Another option for iOS is deploying web clips. If we go again to create and we choose a web application, we can add any URL we would like to deploy. We can give it a name again and also deploy this one. We can, for instance, deploy this as a required app. And click close. So if we want to use the volume purchase program of Apple, we need to add that information to Intune so that it's able to synchronize the applications allowed to be installed from the Apple VPP iTunes Store to Config Manager. So here we are in the Apple Purchase Program portal. What we need to do is to download a token and add this one to Config Manager /Intune. Only companies that have a DUNS number are allowed to use the Apple VPP program. So if we go to Account Summary, we're able to download a token. We just place it on the desktop. We need to set up the connection in Config Manager. We go to the Administration node, to Cloud Services, and to the Apple Volume Purchase Program tokens. We click Add Apple VPP token and supply with a name. Browse to the downloaded token and supply the Apple ID. And we need to choose the account type, which is now business. Click Next, click OK, and we're done. So from now we are able to go back to the Apple VPP store, to the home, and look for an application. So in this case we may want to look for an app which is available for my hometown. So we choose this one. We are allowed to supply a number. I want to make it available for instance 100 users. In this case it's a free app. If it was a paid app, you need to first pay before you are able to deploy it. So we review the order and click Place Order. And we need to confirm the purchase. So now the order is done. If we go back to the console we see that the synchronization is still in progress. So after a next full synchronization, the applications will also be available in Config Manager. You need to give this some time, maybe take up to 5-10 minutes. So after a while the sync will be completed. And let's go back to the software library, and we see that 2 apps are already synchronized. In this case the VVV Breda, which is the tourist office with the amount of 100 licenses. From here I can create an application. Click Next. The information is already added. Click Next. And after it's done, we are able to deploy the application via Config Manager. Click Close. Go back to the Applications node, and we will see that the application with the deployment type is created. So if we click Deploy, again to the same collection as available, and also this application will be available from the company portal. And last but not least, we want to install or deploy a kind of line of business app. So we can do this by creating a new app, choosing the app package for iOS, IPA file, and click Browse, or just add we can choose the IPA file, choose the app package for iOS, and add UNC part, and select the file we want to deploy. In this case it's a Citrix receiver. So we add the information if necessary, and we click Close. Next step again is deploying the app. This time we need to add a content destination, because we will be deploying a native app which we own. So we choose the distribution point, and we need to select manage.microsoft.com. This is the so-called cloud distribution point for Intune in the cloud. Click Next, make it available again, and now application will be deployed and distributed to the right place in the cloud to be available for Intune connected devices. So if we switch to our iOS device, we see a notification which states that an application needs to be installed. So let's unlock my device, and here you see that I'm able to either install the app or cancel the app. If I cancel the app installation, next time the company portal or the service will contact Configuration Manager, the app will be pushed again. So let's press Install. Here you see that the app is already installed. If we go back to the company portal and go to All Apps, we can see the apps we created. Since the VPP app is being pushed, this app is not available in the company portal. So let's first install the Uber app. This app is created with a link to the store. So here you see the experience, how the apps are installed directly from the store without needing to open the store itself. And the installation pop-up will be shown momentarily. There it is. Let's click Install, and here we see that the Uber app is installed automatically without needing to open the App Store. So if we go back to the apps, we can also install the Citrix Receiver app, which is basically the line of business app we added. Also, this will take a while before the installation will take place. And here we are, the Citrix receiver notification is being pushed, or the Citrix app is being pushed. We click install, and also that app will be installed shortly. So now we have seen 3 ways of installing the app.